The Idea of Him by Holly Peterson. Narrated by Laurence Bouvard. Chapter 1. Memory Lane. The taxi driver took off down 7th Avenue as if he'd just mainlined a pound of crystal meth. This guy was on a kamikaze mission, reckless even by New York standards, where taxi drivers charge down the streets with no regard for their passengers' lives. "Slow down, sir, please!" I yelled through the opening in the glass partition as I contemplated ditching this driver at the next corner. He slammed on his brakes. "Okay, lady, I'll slow it down a little, yeah." But when the light turned green, he began weaving between cars and playing chicken to blow past the giant city buses. We brushed a bike messenger, who retaliated with a fisted punch on the trunk. I again waffled about getting out, but it was that bustling time of early rush hour, just before the taxi shift change, when I wouldn't be able to get another, so I stayed put and latched my seatbelt. Besides, my kids were waiting for me at home, and I was already half an hour late leaving the office. I sat strapped in the ratty back seat, tossed back and forth down the length of Manhattan's 7th Avenue like a ping-pong ball. This car is going to crash. The lethal night of the plane accident came back to me in waves, starting with the instinctual pangs telling me not to step up from the tarmac onto the slippery, rickety staircase of the little six-seater. This plane is not made for all this stormy snow, I had said to myself that night, and I was right. So much of my life had gone according to plan since then. Much of it mapped out in a 2 decades-long fit to fix wrongs. The most evil happening on the eve of my 16th birthday that winter night, 18 years and 4 months ago. My father had been planning the trip all year. He had told Mom it was his chance to spend a few days one-on-one with his only child, teaching me the secrets of ice fishing at his favorite spot on Diamond Lake up north. He'd been talking about this as long as I could remember, and finally, a week before my 16th birthday, Mom said I was old enough to go. Dad had handed in his boarding pass outside, and he came onto the small commuter plane in Montreal, dusting snow off his beard and shoulders once he managed to jam his huge frame into the seat. I knew Dad saw the fear in my face and tried his best to reassure me. All I could think about was how small and fragile that plane seemed against the howling winds outside. Deep down, that voice was telling me this was a bad idea, but I kept my mouth shut at first. I didn't want to look like a frightened little girl. Dad smelled of metal and cold air, a scent that further unsettled me because it was so far from his usual salty warmth. I rubbed his arm to chase away the odor, and he smiled down at me. On the plane, I thought danger was nearby, but I didn't want to scare anybody. Others have certainly had that same feeling before they board a plane with severe weather forecast in the flight path, wondering if they should resist getting on, because this could be the one that goes down. A moment's hesitation before they step over that little gap and feel the rush of cold outside air between the boarding ramp and the aircraft front galley. Is my mind playing tricks, or do I somehow know this plane is going down? Am I having some kind of psychic experience? Am I going to be on the local news as the one person who survived, only because I didn't get on at the last minute? The whole body stiffens on the ramp for a moment, to stall and consider the possibility. But then, no, that's ridiculous. Screw it, I'm getting on. Statistics say it is more dangerous to drive to the airport than to get on this plane. At least most often it goes like that. I guess you don't need to be clairvoyant to know that during a blizzard, when a lumberjack pilot in a plaid shirt working for a low-budget commuter airline in Canada's outback says, "It's just a little snow," you get out of the twin-engine Cessna and run for your life. My plan since then has been to run for my life. Run away from a boyfriend who kept traveling to...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?